Hi, welcome, but welcome back. I've not done much video in for a while because I had an operation on my stump, so I haven't done anything since around about the 20th of December. But I've had to get back onto the drag bike because at the tail end of last season I had an issue with the radiator, which was an old radiator because my other radiator got damaged by the front fender. Had a leak and I had to get another radiator, but the genuine ones are dead expensive, so I managed to get an aftermarket one which is advertised for the Gen 1. Now the only difference between this and the Gen 2, it only has the mountings for one fan, but because I'm using a high-speed extra large fan on one of them, that will be actually mounted through the radiator fins, which is how they suggest to do it. So I only need the mounting for one, and the mounting is slightly different as well, so I need to modify it with a bracket, but that's not a problem. I'm going to show you the old radiator now, and I'm going to show you what I've done to the bike because I've had to move the Mocal Laminova oil cooler, because where it was before, it was pushing the radiator too far forward, which was giving us the issues. So I've made some pipe work and everything, which I showed you earlier on in the video. But now I will be, I can show you how I've made it secure. It's not going anywhere now at all. But it will all have to come off again because I've got to get to the fuel line on the throttle body, so I need to take this bracketry off, which I'll show you now. Anyway, I'll show you the what's what, and we'll go from there. Right, this is the old radiator. As you can see, I have chemical metal the outside, and I did use rag weld on the inside, and it finally sealed it so I could actually race. But you can see it is a very old radiator. It was the radiator that originally come with this bike, the 2012 bike, which was rather battered, had a lot of soil in it. I had to clean a lot of the soil out of the fins to be able to use it because it wouldn't cool. But anyway, that is now destroyed, so that's no good to me no more. This is the radiator I've got. You can see the brackets only has it for one, but on the Gen 2 that bracket comes out, sits here, so the fan normally mounts there, there and there and there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little bracket that goes bolts from there to be able to bolt to the fan. Similar sort of bracketry which is what I've got here, made for the Mocal oil cooler. That is the high-speed fan I was telling you about, which will go through the radiator, and underneath it you can see where the bracket is the standard fan. I do have to change the plug on one of them because I did have two high-speed fans on, but I'm going to have one high-speed and one standard fan on this time. It just gives it a bit more space. But this is what I've done with the, showed you the bracketry and showed it went, but what I've done now, I've actually made a bracket, bolts here, and it bolts to the bolt there that holds the bar that basically holds all the wiring together and keeps everything into place. But I've got to take all that off. I've got to get to the fuel line at the back, so all that's going to come off. That pipe work, the wiring will just pull away, but I'm going to try and get to that, hopefully not take my blipper away, and try and get to the fuel line, pull it out, and then I'm going to be making a new fuel line altogether. I've ordered some new parts for the radiator and that. There's like little bungs, seals, washers, and everything. I've took the oil filter off, and after the oil pipes off, I'm going to have one oil pipe that's just basically going to go up and into that, which should be quite a simple pipe to make. I might have to modify this still further, but we'll see. I need to check with my fairing whether the fairing's going to be fouled with it, especially with this pipe coming out and that. If it does, I might have to turn it a bit and then see if I can mount it a little bit better on that with a secure bracket. Obviously there's no jubilees on stuff at the moment because of that. So that's it for today really, that's all I'm doing, because as I say, I've had an operation on my stump and it's really crippling me. My right knee, I can't hop on it. Try and hop on it, it feels like it's going to give way all the time. because I've got really bad arthritis in the only knee I've got, and I feel really crippled at the moment with it. So I'm just doing a little bit at a time. I've got the granddaughter this weekend, so I'm gonna go and see the granddaughter, finish my cup of tea, and go from there, and see what's what, and probably have a go tomorrow. But I'm gonna have to take some meds for me here, I think. Sitting down, I don't really feel it, so I don't put any pressure or weight on it. It's just horrendous. But anyway, I'll catch you later. Hi all, I've decided to make some oil lines for the oil cooler. I've already done one. I'm just going to show you what I'm going to do the other. I'm using steel braided, which you've got to be careful with these because they, you know, really hurt if you get one of those friggin' bit of braids in your fingers. But as I say, I've moved this Mocal oil cooler, so I'm just going to do the oil lines. One oil line's done. Doesn't particularly matter how long they are, as long as they're not kinked in any way, which would be hard to kink steel braid anyway. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you what I've done just now. Hi, there's one line I've made already, on two 90-degree elbows on the sandwich plate. You can see they've got a 180 degree there, because that one has to go all the way around and meet up with that. So I think it's going to take a long route, that one, so it doesn't have any particular sharp edges or bends that may cause future problems. So there's that thingy there. What I've done with the ends is I've used a pair of tin snips to cut it round, make sure the rubber is nice and smooth all the way around, and then I go around the edge and I take a little bit off around the edge to sort of like taper the metal a little bit, so it's easier to fit through. I might have to just take a little bit of the edge there because it's not quite square, and then I'm going to put an end on there. I'm going to probably put that 180 degree end on that one. What I do is I push the braided line up to as far as where it is now. Sometimes you can go a touch further, but as long as you don't go to the threaded bit on this side. As you can see, pushed on. It's quite tight to push on, which it's got to be tight, and then the inner tube of that will go in the rubber. And then the blue threaded bit will turn. It's supposed to turn, and you could use. I use a pair of adjustable spanners, one on each and one on the other, because they are quite a large size. So that's quite easy to do, really. And it's just a matter of getting the right length, because if you get it too long, it kind of pushes on itself. If it's too short, obviously, you know what problems you'll have there. Hello everyone. I have now fitted the two fans to thingy, one genuine one, which obviously bolts at the bottom, bolts at the top, and I've had to modify it there because of the mounting brackets for this are different to the mounting brackets on the original. The original one has two fans on like that, mounting bracket on this side. I think this is from a Gen 1, which only has one fan on, I think. Could be wrong there, but this aftermarket one, which was sold for a Gen 1 ZZR14, only had mounts for one fan. But that was okay, because with it being my drunk bike, I was mounting a high-speed fan, which come from the States, and how they recommend it is plastic ties through there with washer and foam pad on the other side. So that is done and ready to mount up on the bike. I'm going to mount it on the bike next. You take the side panel off again so I can get it. I'm going to put the top two bolts in, which you can see are there at the moment with plastic ties around so I don't lose them. And then I will see from there. Hi everyone. I've now fitted this Mocal Laminova oil cooler system. You can see it is clamped there, tube down, clamp there, tube round and back up to the water there. We've got one oil line goes down straight to the sandwich plate, the other one goes round. I had to cut a little groove in the fairing to fit it there, goes to there, and then the bottom of the water goes through there, because originally the water, cold water, come through there. It will become from there directly to this. So I've tapped into the cold water bit to cool the oil that goes through there, and the water goes through there. And it's basically so I can put a low sump on the bottom and get rid of the original oil cooler. Some drag racers don't use an oil cooler at all, but they have to be so careful on the dyno not the bike overheat. But I decided I wanted to fit something to cool it, especially when sometimes you get Santa pod and you do queue up a little bit. And with me being a left leg amputee, it's not easy pushing the bike, so I have to keep starting it and move it forward and turn it off, sort of thing. So obviously that keeps it hot or warm. So that's that. I'm just going to check the fairing fits. The fairing I've cut at the moment to put on may not be the fairing I keep, because I do have a full set of fairings, and it's been cut and chopped a few times for various different systems I've been trying out, mainly oil cooling systems on this side. So I may well get the other fairing I've got and replace most of the fairings on the bike to for little bits that have been broken over the last few years, getting it right. Right, okay, that's it for now. Catch you later. Hi, you can see now panel's on except for the lower half one. You can see it's tucked in quite nicely behind the fairing. We have a pipe come out here, as I say, to cut a hole there. The pipe comes round and return back through. If I put the lower part one on, which I will do at some point, I'm probably have to trim it again up for that pipe, and probably a little bit for the oil filter there. But that will be a job after I've done the fuel line. I'm going to take all this off again, get to the throttle bodies, and tap into the fuel line for somewhere different on my nitrous system. Which reminds me, I need to message the guy to get some different nitrous and fuel lines. So that's that really. Yeah, so I'm going to leave it for tonight, but everything is going on quite nice actually. And really what we're looking at as well, it's going to increase the water capacity or the coolant capacity and the oil capacity a little bit, which is a good thing, because the more oil you've got, the more it will lubricate round and get a chance to cool down, and the more longer pipes I've got there will give it more of a chance for it to cool down again further. So we're hoping we'll see what the temperature will be once it's running, and obviously we'll have to check for leaks for both oil and coolant. But yeah, that's it, not too bad. I say radiator was fitted on, no problem, both fans are fitted, and that bit is coming on quite nicely. I've still got to do, my thumb brake's been taken off, by the way, from here. Thumb brake's been taken off because there was a recall on them for checking the seals, so it's going to come back with a new one. I think just do an exchange unit, and then I will refit that. But I'm also looking, we've got a different lever on it, we've got an adjustable longer one rather than the modification, the crude modification I had to do. So hopefully that will be a lot better and a lot easier to operate, rather than me faffing about trying to make something. So that's that. I'm just thinking as I'm going ahead, as you can probably tell, of various different things and how I could do things differently. Like that long oil line there, I could have potentially made it come down from that bit there and loop round, but it's going to be a bit of a tight turn, and I didn't quite like the idea of a tight turn with the line bending, and potentially somewhere along over time it'll cause a problem, cause a crease, cause a, you know, it could even cause something to leak or something if it bends too tight. So I say that's that. I'm going to have to shorten the wheelbase again to get it on the dyno, because at that wheelbase it will not fit on the dyno very well. So I'll bring it right forward, and we'll get it on the dyno, give it a good test, and to make sure there's no leaks, and it'll run up to temperature, up to the RPM, and etc, etc. And we'll see, and we might even test it with a shot of nitrous to see what horsepower it's giving with the nitrous, with the particular settings I've got. That'd be interesting to see. So we might well do that as well. It all depends on time more than anything. But yeah, it's looking good now. It's looking like it's going to work. And I'll leave you be, and I'll catch you again shortly. Oh, and incidentally, I've got my H2 engine back as well now. I've got it just on the bench underneath the frame at the moment. But that bike I probably won't start until this drag bike's finished. Otherwise I'll have too many bits anyway, and I can get the drag bike out the way and get to the parts for the H2. Gives me more space as well, which will be far better to work around. Right, speak to you again shortly. Goodbye.